What's up, YouTubers? This is Jane Joyce with the Comic Book Read Along. Grab your books and read along. I am here with Brandon, Boney, just kidding, Bonnie, and he...
From Brandon's Comics.
Brandon's Comics, down here in Tempe, Arizona. How about you tell them where you're located for our Arizona people?
We're located at 1833 East Southern Avenue, right next to Bosa Donuts, Fallout Games, Outback Steakhouse is right across the street. You should know one of those three locations pretty well. What's that? We're on McClintock and Southern.
Yeah, anyway, so if you are in Arizona, if you're in Tempe, you can grab a bite to eat and grab some comics at the same time.
Even if you're in Casa Grande or AJ, you can still come in.
Absolutely, and you're open
better than any place in Surprise.
7 days a week, right?
Absolutely. Yeah, we work 11 to 3. We work 7 days a week, but yeah, I figure I get 1 day to drink beer all day.
And Wednesday you open extremely early. For
7:45. We cater to a lot of the people that work 9 to 5 jobs. One thing, I've been doing Comic-Cons across the country for a little while, and one thing I hear from a lot of people is, you know, on their lunch break, they go get their comics because no other comic book stores open up 9 to 5. Well, I put myself right off 2 freeways. If you work in Scottsdale or Phoenix and you live in Chandler or Gilbert, you have to come past me at one point. So I open up at 7:45. What do I tell people is, you know what, get up at 7, come in, get your comics, you can get a donut from Bosa Donuts, and then on your lunch break, you don't have to go to your local comic book store and get your new releases because you already have it. So.
And I've been in that rat race before of running on my lunch break to go get my comics on Wednesdays.
Won't happen anymore. I get up early for you guys.
So there you have it. The most convenient place to get your comics, Brandon's Comics. You can also find him at pretty much every Comic-Con, every major Comic-Con in Arizona. I was helping.
I even show up at the movies.
Week.
You can't show a movie without me trying to sell you comics.
There you go. So a lot of people who are collecting comics, they don't really know where, maybe, you know, depending on their experience level, they don't know really how to begin either collecting, and a lot of it depends on, are they hardcore readers, or are they going in this for investment, or for...
Yeah, there's all different demographics. There's all sorts. I mean, you have your readers. A lot of the readers will be towards your $1 to $3 books. Those are kind of where you want to stay at. You know, it's important to you. There are also the people that don't really have a big financial investment. You actually love comics. You guys are my favorite people to sell comics to. You like the new releases. You guys know everything about every story. I'm way too busy for that. I'm way too busy to even read a comic. I watch too much TV anyway. Any person that knows that about me. But then you have your high-end people. They're like me. They're snotty. Like, they only like their high-end stuff. They don't actually read the comics. It's all more of a financial investment for them. Which, if you guys are into making money, I can teach you how to do it through these CGC books. It's done pretty well. Fucked up film.
I know. I was like, I better just check, because I thought there was a little red light on the front. Alright, so talking about CGC books, if you have a nice book, meaning probably Silver Age,
well, it's not only that. I mean, you can do new releases, keys, first appearances, like... I'm also a CGC dealer, so if you want to bring your book to me, I can set it out, get graded.
How would somebody who's maybe got a big collection but they've never had anything graded, what advice would you have for them to go through their collection and assess what should be graded?
Don't think for yourself. Absolutely, just don't think for yourself. Just bring it in, because a lot of you guys don't know the grades. You didn't think I was going to say that, did you?
No, that's okay.
No, but a lot of people, you know, you think it's a 9.8, and you know, you don't realize how hard it is. You know, it's in your collection. You believe that you got it, but a big important part of comics is the heat. I mean, did your AC ever go out? Was it hot in your house? Did you rebag and board your comics every 4 years? But
go back to that for a second. Tell them why they need to rebag and board their comics every so often, because a lot of people don't know this.
It just the comics get gross. I mean, it's like I said, the worst thing to comics is heat. You know, there's moisture in the atmosphere, and it just makes...
Well, there's different types of comic book protection. So when you have like this type of plastic right here, that the CGC, this is pretty much impermeable. This is not going to affect your comics.
Well, that actually should be replaced every 7 years.
That too?
Yeah, absolutely.
Well, I know for a fact, I forget the product name, but I think it's polyurethane or something like that. The
polyamory.
Whatever it is. I don't think that's what it is.
I don't think they're going to understand it.
Anyway, this type of bag, your common bag and board, Usually the boards are going to be acid free, so the boards might be able to last you a little bit longer. But these bags,
answer better.
These bags do deteriorate with time, and they're not 100%.
And they're gross.
I mean, obviously,
You see how mad
there's
Jen
going to be a
gets?
little bit of air that gets in there, but regardless, air can actually permeate through the bag. So if you have something that you
I'm
want to
sorry, whatever
archive,
comic that is.
yeah, sorry, Spider-Man 3.
Well, now they've already seen it. Oh, that's mine, actually.
Coolest.
No, that's actually the books I pulled for myself.
Then it's yours, my friend.
It's definitely mine. I paid for it.
So yeah, anyway, I mean, when you have a large collection and you want to preserve the value, especially going forward, some of these are going to gain in value. You first have to know, well, what's likely to gain in value, what is certainly going to gain in value, and then how are you going to protect those books. The stuff that you know for a fact is going to gain in value, CGC. You want to get these things graded and completely airtight, hermetically sealed, as they say.
Did I ever tell you the what?
Get this stuff locked down.
Did I ever tell you a story about
Check
Stephen
that.
Green?
No.
Okay, so I have this rule at Comic Cons. When I was doing Comic Cons, it's actually pretty cool. When I was doing Comic Cons, if I had a Silver Age book and it made it through 5 Comic Cons with me, I just sent it off to get graded. Didn't care. There was something wrong with it. So I had this. It was Spider-Man 41. It's the first appearance of Rhino. So Spider-Man 41. This little boy wrote like Stephen Green all over it. Stephen Green, Stephen Green, Stephen Green. Like practicing the signature. Well, if you do that and you send those in, you get. Where's the green label? You gave me that Walking Dead right there.
See?
So if you send something in that's not verified by CGC, it gets a green label. So if it's verified by CGC, you get a yellow label. So this little kid wrote Stephen Green all over the comic, and I didn't even think about it. But luckily, CGC didn't give me a green label. But the CGC, they didn't give me a green label. So I've been trying to sell this comic for like $30. All right, trying to sell this comic for $30. It got CGC'd and it came back a 1.8 right here. Dude, I sold it for $125. So I just put $25 into it and what, 5 times my money? 5 times my money? But that just goes to show you like how CGC, how it can like take off. Now it does take a couple months to get to do that, but if you can send out books every week and you start flying through them, all of a sudden you got a business. And then you can quit your job.
But the key to that is knowing which book CGC is actually going to add value to, because you're putting an investment into it. So you don't want to pay a $25, $35 fee in a book that's only going to be worth $45. Otherwise, you're
I generally stick to like $100.
You're only going to be breaking even. Yeah, you want to be able to get something that actually is going to gain value. I mean, if you're going to go through the amount of time, the effort, the mailing, all that stuff, you want to make sure it comes back and increases in value. So let's talk about some of these books here too.
Do you call them YouTubers?
YouTubers.
YouTubers?
I call them YouTubers.
I gotta start using that.
I don't know, why not?
I don't know what to call them.
What should I call you guys? Leave it in the comments.
Is people gonna talk back? Oh, they can talk back.
They can talk back. Yeah.
Okay.
You guys can type back. Let us know what you prefer to be called.
Can you make your computer say it so they are talking back? So we're...
I don't know, maybe. I'll have to do a little research on that.
Okay.
Alright, so
Don't edit that.
no, I'm not gonna
Okay.
edit it. This is going out hot.
This is going out hot. Nelly.
Yeah. All right. So let's talk about picking up some of these CGC pieces and hanging on to them, because a lot of people are looking for different ways to invest their money, and comic books actually can be a safe and smart investment if you know
Better
what you're
than the
doing.
stock market.
If you know what you're doing, you can actually make a lot of money over time by investing in key comics. And then
Your Spider-Man 129s, your Hulk 181s, your Spider-Man 121s, they're never going to lose value. They're not printing any more up. The thing about the Hulk 181, we could do this book. This book has climbed in value 20%. This is Hulk 181. It's the first appearance of Wolverine. But this comic's gone up 20% every year. It's a no-brainer. One of the things with this comic, they had a Marvel value stamp they put in some of this stuff. This is a very, very important comic to get. Now see, this is the blue label versus the yellow label. If a book gets restored, it's going to come back a green label. So the most important part of this book to look for is the Marvel stamp. If you got it, you get blue. If you don't, you get green. People don't like that. I just felt like getting excited.
yeah, so I mean, a lot of times, I mean, there's people who shop at garage sales, at antique malls, at
And
dollar
I'm jealous
bins.
of every one of you.
And
all
sometimes you
these
can
cool
find
stories.
valuable books in there. I mean, there's stories of somebody finding like the Wonder Woman #2 and buying it for $10 at an antique shop. That's like at least a 5-figure book. So I mean, you can have hot finds like that if you know what you're looking for.
I'd
Anyway,
be so pissed if that actually happens.
as far as you don't really read comics, you mostly just deal in comics. When somebody comes to your store, what kind of selection can they expect to find? I mean, I know you have a lot of investment pieces, but you also have a large selection of, like what you said, $1, $3.
Well, back
Readers
issues.
books.
Yeah, we have a lot of back issues. We have a kind of a different business model than most stores. We've got 2 different collections. They're both in alphabetical and numerical. I do a lot of Comic-Cons, so any book in my store that's not in display cases, $4 and up's always half off. Anything marked $1, $3 is $1 to $3. I'm actually having a sale right now where everything in the store is half off, which is confusing as hell to say right now. But yeah, so that's kind of how we do everything here. I work really hard. We sell about 200 comics a day, but my wife and I work really hard. We check in about 5,000 every 2 weeks. So we're gradually getting bigger, little by little, but we're selling so many comics. So we've always got something new. That's kind of why it's cool to like come in here. We're always got something new.
Yeah, and if you guys are sitting on a collection that you maybe are debating parting
Sell it
ways
to me.
with,
Sell it.
bring it down here and let him
Sell it
make
so I can sell it to other people.
He will make an offer for it and then create win-win. You get rid of your collection, you get money in your pocket, and then
And I'll give you some dope stuff that I got from somebody else.
yeah, and he'll have more product to sell to other people who are looking for the books that you're sitting on.
I'm like a comic book payday loan master.
Payday loans, yeah. Everybody likes payday loans.
It's comic book payday loans, kind of. I don't know. That's what I start calling them. I'm trying to think of something better.
I think he's going to change the name of his store to
To comic book payday loans.
Payday Loan Comics.
All I even need's like 40 more letters, like right outside.
Yeah, it'll be really, yeah, the sign will cost you more than rent.
Probably would.
Probably. All right, well, what else is on your mind that you might want people to know about either your store, about collecting, buying, investing in comics?
I don't know. No, I think it's really cool. I think it's really cool, like the whole pop culture, like everything getting into it. Comics are. I was into the stock market for a few years. I guess we never told that story.
I don't know if you know that one.
Yeah, no, I was a bartender for 17 years, and about 5-6 years ago, I was in the stock market, and I saw trends like going a certain way that I didn't like, and it's all math. All this stuff, it's all math. Supply and demand and math. You don't even have to know anything.
Except numbers. You have to know how to count.
Yeah.
Subtract.
Yeah. Accounting. It's pretty easy. But
Divide. Basic arithmetic.
yeah, that too. I forgot about divide. Shit. Must have part of the business. But yeah, my eBay page is going on right now. So what do we sell?
Instant notifications for sales.
I sold 3 spawns.
3 spawns.
Where was I going? I forgot.
You're talking about the stock market and
Oh,
the
yeah.
trends and
Yeah,
how you
you're
drive
definitely
costs.
gonna have to edit all that.
No way.
You're not. Just following the stock market. I started following trends, and I didn't really like the way things are going. And I'm sitting here looking at stuff, and then I ended up pulling all the money from the stock market, and it's sitting there. And I remember one night, my buddies used to always tell me I need a breathalyzer for my computer, and it's really true. But I went on Amazon, and I was messing around, and I bought like 9 pairs of Jordans, and I was drunk, and they came back in, and I'm like, I've got all these shoes, and I'm like, dude, I'm gonna blow all this money. So I sent like 4 pair back. I kept like 5. So I sent like 4 pair back, and then I started researching things, gold, stamps, silver, I don't know, any. I started going to thrift shops, started doing all this stuff, and I came across an article about a Walking Dead #1, and the Walking Dead issue had been skyrocketing. It was just something about like investment, comic purposes. But so I ended up buying one. And at the time, I was living with my girlfriend, who's my wife, and then my buddy, who's still my buddy. But they had been watching some stupid zombie show that I didn't really care about. And I came across that. And so I'm talking to them about it, and they're like, that's the show that we watch. And I'm like, And I didn't like Daryl with the crossbow. I thought he was kind of a dork. And my buddy's like, dude, you'd actually like that guy. And he's like my favorite guy on the show. But
I think you're a lot like Daryl.
Yeah.
If there was a zombie world, you probably would pack a crossbow, actually.
Yeah. And a tank. I don't know why anybody just didn't roll with the tank the
Seriously,
whole time. Yeah.
That's a good point.
But
What was it? Bad gas mileage.
yeah, bad gas. But I mean, we got so much gas. Like, I don't know. I mean, after most of the world are zombies, they're not using gas. Like, how is everybody? I would find a bunch of gas, but so I started running across articles of Walking Dead, about that, and so I started watching the show, and I really get into it. And if you watch The Walking Dead, in the beginning, they actually stayed real close to the comic, so it was almost like kind of like a no-brainer when things were coming up, and it stopped right about issue 100, like with the death of Carl. But up to that point, and it's no-brainers, buying them left and right, and I'm flipping them, and I'm like, man, I'm the smartest person in the world. I am the smartest person in the world. This is easy, and that was easy. Then I started doing a bunch of stupid things, buying 50 issues of some comic, buying, something. But then I started going to these comic book stores around town, and I started developing relationships. And I'm not going to say anybody in specific, but I'm going to some of these stores, and I'm pre-ordering stuff, some of these stores, and like, if it didn't hit, oh, I definitely had it. I had it. I might even get, if I ordered 30, I might get home with 32 copies. They're just ringing them up real fast. And then there was like this book, Saga #1, that I ordered. And this Saga book, it like took off. I pre-ordered 30 copies. Going to go pick them up. Nah, man, they didn't come in. I'm skeptical. Look at their website, they got 90 on there. Spending thousands of dollars in these stores. And that's kind of when I got to the point where I was like, I didn't trust comic book stores. I didn't really like, because these things, they happen all the time. I mean, I would go store to store because all these things kept on happening to me. So, that's kind of like why I kind of got irritated, and I just decided to open up my own store. I don't do pull boxes. I don't promise anybody that I can't get them. I'll give you guys my cell phone number, but what I do is when the Diamond Guy comes out, if you like me on Facebook or Instagram or YouTube or Twitter, I actually don't have Twitter, I just wanted to say that.
Follow them on all those places. Subscribe.
Yeah, but I'll send a picture of like the UPS guy. And what that means is everything's here. So start blowing me up like an hour later. So what I do is I take all the comics out and I put it over the display cabinets. And I take pictures. It's not my job to get stacked on new releases. It's my job to sell the new releases. So what I do, legitimately, I try to order for you guys and sell out every week. Now, I don't do pull boxes like I said. I'm not going to guarantee stuff, but I am in contact with you on Tuesday. So I bag and board everything, make sure everything's good. I put it in your box, and then you have till Sunday to pick everything up. If you can't pick it up by Sunday, just don't pick it up here. There's other stores in town that you can put it in a pull box for a month. That's just the way that we do business here. But
another thing I'd like to point out about Brandon's comics that is unique compared to most stores, you pretty much cannot find a book in here that isn't bagged and boarded. So
Right.
he actually he gets new releases, he puts on gloves, protects it
You've
from
seen the videos.
fingerprints, and he makes sure every new release is bagged and boarded.
because it's investment purposes. Just because I don't read the comics doesn't mean that I don't think about it as investment purposes.
He respects the value. I mean, I can't tell you how many times I've been driven nuts by a comic book shop. They ring it up and then they do this.
Yeah.
You're like, don't do that to my books. And they're like, I don't get it. You're like, you should get it. You work in a comic book shop.
Well, because if somebody does that, somebody manhandles it, or somebody takes it off the wall and like knocks it over and stuff, that's still my book. I'm still paying for that. If it comes in damaged, I send it back to Diamond. So like in knowing this, if you buy a book from me, you can turn around and send it and get graded because it's going to be a 9896.
Yeah, absolutely.
94, 92, in
that's
case
'cause
Diamond's watching.
And that's because he keeps gloves on, he handles it with care, he bags and boards it to protect it. So you're going to get the highest quality books coming here.
I treat it like my first girlfriend in like second grade. I don't even know what that means, but somebody's gonna think that's funny out there.
Or
At least I didn't say I treated it like my second grade girlfriend.
I'm going to edit it, so that's what you
No,
say.
definitely don't edit that. That's why Frank Caliendo edited me out of everything.
All right, so how do you drive your competitors out of business or drive them crazy?
Yeah, that's my secret.
So I know you have a lot of friends in this industry, but there's definitely some people you butt some heads with. What is the key to making sure those people hate you?
I'm just doing it. Just follow me on Facebook or Instagram.
I think he's.
I didn't realize you were gonna do that.
He needs some breathalyzer on his computer, so.
And cell phone.
And cell
Well,
phone.
it's because you were just
He
at
needs
a
an
Comic-Con with me, so she
interlock.
witnessed it firsthand the entire weekend. You can cut that with a knife.
No, it's really funny because there's people who come over and he's got to yell at them to get out of his booth, and then there's other people who come over and he's like, "Come on in."
Yeah.
You know, so he's got the relationship with some dealers and other dealers. It's like, stay away from me. I think that's pretty funny.
It's fun if you guys can't take a joke, then you shouldn't be around.
And that's also pretty much every industry. You always get along with
Take a
some
joke.
people and other people. You're like, yeah, whatever. It doesn't mean he's like mean to them. It's just he knows how to bust people's chops, and some people just
I'm
take
really
it wrong.
good at it.
Some people
I'm
take
really
it
good
the
at
wrong way. But that's like anybody who's ever been on Facebook knows that a lot of people are pretty sensitive these days. So
And they like to hide behind their computers.
yeah, absolutely. It's easy to argue from a keyboard. That's why you give out your address, right?
Yeah.
You're like, you know where to find me. All
But
right.
anyway.
Yeah, we're being silly now. Well, guys, I think that gives you a pretty good idea of
We didn't talk about Stan.
what's. Oh yeah.
Oh yeah, I got the keys to the store the day Stanley passed away.
Yeah, look at how awesome that tattoo is. You
I
guys have probably
cried for
seen
4
this.
hours getting this.
I'm pretty sure this image was in
Oh,
the
it's a-
front of quite a few of the Marvel books shortly after his passing away. So that's why you would probably recognize that image. Really nicely done tattoo.
Yeah,
Where'd you get that done at anyway?
Victor Tattoo. I can't remember his last name. What's Victor's last name? Victor Figueroa.
There you go. If you want some really nice comic book
Yeah,
tattoos,
he's won several awards.
hey,
He'll show you.
there you go. Just bring in a book and be like, hey, I want this tattoo.
6-month waiting list though.
6-month waiting list. So plan ahead because it'll probably cost you some money anyway. So anyway, guys.
No, he'll trade for comics. Just give him your comic book collection. Like he really will. That's what we traded for is comics.
Nice. Hopefully he's
Didn't tell you that far.
Hopefully he's okay with everyone trying to peddle comics. And
Oh, I totally
barter
think he'll
comics.
trade ink for comic books.
You guys just better bring him nice comics. Don't bring Drek, okay? You guys gotta bring like quality.
Never heard of Drake.
Drek is the books that you get where you're like, how am I ever gonna sell this mystery box?
So it's Superman. You hate Superman.
A lot of Superman, sure, absolutely. A lot of Superman is
I
Drek.
hate Superman.
Oh, I love Superman, but he is so overpublished. I think there's something like 30,000.
Everybody thought Superman was
Superman
worth
books.
something. I wish everybody would throw away all their
Old
Supermans. So my
is-
Superman.
Old Superman is worth stuff. I mean, you get into old Superman. I mean, in Action Comics is worth.
Did you see
something.
they have a new Batman? That guy that's the new Batman?
I did. You know, I'm hopeful
What's he
that he's
from?
gonna be good. He's the guy from Twilight and
That's why I've never seen him.
and something else.
Shouldn't-
Alright, now do it.
Hi guys, thanks for watching.
We got cut short. That's what happens when you don't have somebody doing the video for you.
We just need people to do the videos for us.
But we pretty much were already finished with the video when it got cut off.
I think I
So
said some pretty cool stuff.
this is what you get for the ending. Peace.
Thank you.